Hey guys, welcome once again. We are joined by the wonderful Candy Lee. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
All the way from New Zealand.
Right.
That we were just saying before we started recording how much we want to go to New Zealand because it's such a beautiful country. Like I've got family that live there, Jamie's got friends that live there, and I want to go visit so much because everything you see about New Zealand looks amazing.
I know COVID as well, so
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Well done. That's incredible.
Yes, because you guys did it all right. You guys locked down and did everything right.
Yeah.
We should have literally followed what you did, but yeah, we're on the bucket list. It's our bucket list, New Zealand. It's like Council, it's just a beautiful place. It really is. And we apologized to you as well, didn't we, before? Because we've just got out of bed because it's 9 a.m. here, and you're looking absolutely incredible, and we look like we've literally just rolled out of bed. So thank you for that.
You know what, Jamie? It's because we have just rolled out of bed. Like there's no pretending. I was still in bed about half an hour ago, so I'm just finishing my coffee, hoping that helps.
So, Candy, how is it over there anyway? Like you said, no COVID. Is it all kind of back to normal?
So I'm in Auckland, and the weather here is it's like it can't make up its mind. Like one day, like 1 minute it's raining, and then it'll be like bright and like sunny. So you can never be prepared here, and it's getting into winter, so I'm not.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that always throws me off. Not just the time zones, it's the seasons are completely flipped, obviously. So for us, we're just getting ready for summer and you're getting ready for winter. I don't know why that blows my mind so much.
Weather-wise, though, we're the same at the minute, aren't we, Callum? It's literally, it can't make its mind up here. It's raining 1 minute, it's bright sunshine the next.
Thunder, hailstone, all in the same hour. We get all different types of weather in the same hour. You never know what to dress for, which drives me crazy. But that's just typical British weather. So if you do get to come to the UK one time to wrestle, bring every single type of clothing you can because you'll never know what to dress for.
Yeah, but I literally don't really own warm clothes as it is. I just like dressing how I want to dress all the time.
Fair enough.
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But I know we mentioned New Zealand, but correct me if I'm wrong. You was actually born in Samoa, is that right?
Yeah, I was born in Samoa and then moved to New Zealand when I was young, when I was 4 or 5.
And is that when you first discovered wrestling? I remember I've done a bit of research. Was it the Royal Rumble that you first saw?
Yeah, it was Taz versus Kurt Angle, the first ever I've seen, and I was like,
that's a great match, though. I mean, we all know how great Kurt Angle is, but people, I think, don't realize how good Taz was in his day.
And still is.
I mean, are there two guys that you kind of looked up to as they were the first you saw? Are there two that you were inspired by?
Not really. I'm more inspired by the divas and the women.
Kelly.
They were a gateway for me to wrestling because that was the first ever match I saw, and I was just like, oh, this is so interesting. I need to watch more. It was the bikini contest on the show that really hooked me to wrestling.
That's what I find interesting about your story about getting into wrestling is you actually really the diva, the name diva and the actual diva wrestling really did inspire you, didn't it, to get into what you're doing today? Because I know some people look back at it and think that wasn't a good period, but it definitely still brought in some people who wanted to do that. And I know women's wrestling has come so far, but for yourself, what do you look back at that period as? The diva wrestling where they were doing bikini contests. When you look back, do you look back fondly on that era?
Yeah, it's the era that inspired me the most. I don't understand when people shit on it because I feel it did inspire a lot of people. It's inspired me a lot. I thought it was empowering and I thought it was powerful what they were doing. That's what I loved about wrestling back then, and it's my fondest memories when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it. I'm with Callum. I loved it. I mean, don't get me wrong. The women's wrestling today is incredible. It's some of the best you've ever seen. But You go back to the brown panties, the bikini matches. I was 15 years old when they were on, so I mean, I absolutely loved them. You know, as a 15-year-old teenager, it was like WWE are doing some good shit here. I'm into this. But I did read one of the people that you was influenced by. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Candice Michelle? You was a big fan of Candice Michelle?
Yeah, I was like a big fan of Candace. Like she was my favorite back then. But I was like Kelly that inspired me a lot.
Yeah.
As well. Like if you follow me on Twitter, that's all I talk about half the time. Kelly.
Yeah, I've seen that you're a big Kelly fan. You know what? I always thought she was severely underrated because she always had like star presence about her. She always seemed like she could have done a lot more. But she's another wrestler who, in that diva era, she got a lot of hate online for no reason. But I always think she's good, and she could still come back if she wanted to and get a good reaction.
Like she's still young, like she's really early.
Yeah, she was only 19. Yeah, she was only 19 when she was in ECW, I think. So she definitely still is like early 30s. So she could still come back. Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize she was only 19. Wow. Okay. But obviously, talking about your journey as well, though, I mean, what was the wrestling scene like in New Zealand? I mean, how did you find a school? Is there many wrestling schools over there?
Like literally I Googled, like I was one day I was bored at work and I was like, oh my God, I should finally decide to like chase my dream of being a wrestler, because I didn't think you could do wrestling in my like here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Because I only watched WWE growing up, so I was like, oh, you must have to go to America to like be a wrestler, because I thought WWE was the only way. But yeah, literally I Googled it and then I like messaged every single school, and the school that I decided to train with is the school that I'm like currently at, like wrestling for, the home promotion that I wrestle for, Impact Pro Wrestling New Zealand. And yeah, Dakota Kai trained there, and she was
really?
Yeah. So I was like, I picked a good school.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dakota Kai for me is a future world champion, Raw, SmackDown, wherever she ends up. I think she's just incredible. She's just a thrill to watch. So to be able to go to the same school as her, you know, it's legit.
It's so inspiring to like see like her like in WWE doing the things that she's doing, like especially being like someone like me, like she's someone. So that's so cool, and being a woman as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I mean, obviously going back to your heritage being Samoan. I mean, when you got into the business, did you go back and look? Because the Samoan dynasty in wrestling is one of the most incredible things.
Yeah, like my family had out like watched wrestling just for like The Rock and his family. So like I was very familiar with them. Like my parents like loved Umaga.
Yeah,
like everything about him they loved. They just loved that he spoke Samoan and that he swore at someone. Funny. So yeah, I was like, I feel like wrestling is like for like built for Samoans. I feel like Samoans are built for the business.
Yeah, like I can't think of a Samoan wrestler who hasn't done well or at least been good at wrestling. Like every Samoan wrestler that's come into WWE, like Umaga, you know, for me, he would have been a future world champion. And it's like, I don't know what it is about Samoans and wrestling that just works so well. But like Jamie said, the dynasty is incredible.
And it's continuing. I mean, you look on the independents now. I mean, we spoke to Solomon Tupu, and you've got Sefer Fatu, you know, Rikishi's other son. There's just so many that are still coming through. And you're right, Candy. You look at them, you're like, these guys are built for wrestling. It's like it's what they're meant to do. And there's big stars yet to come. Big stars yet to come, yourself included.
Yourself included, yeah.
Hopefully. I mean, this pandemic says otherwise because I'm stuck here.
Hey, didn't you still get 92 on the PWI 100 though?
Oh my God, I was like so honored with that, because like one of my like mini goals when I started out training and stuff was like that I get to be on like the PWI, because like I just thought it was so cool, and like seeing like all these other women on it and like meeting like the one that I heard about when I
Yeah.
started training. It was so cool.
That was awesome to see, because I was looking through the list, because I believe it's the first time they've done a PWI 100, and to see you on the list was really cool. So what did it feel like for you? Because I know it's like you said, it was quite honoring, it was quite an honor to be on that list, but the people you were on that list with were some of the best in the business, which means you too, you're one of the most upcoming stars in women's wrestling. You're one of those stars too. What's that pressure like for you now you've already been ranked on the 100?
I feel like there's a lot of pressure now, because I feel like for the next one, I'm like, oh my God, would I even rank? Because due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was kind of like, it was kind of bittersweet, because it's like, yeah, I was ranked and stuff among some of the best in the world, but like, it's like I couldn't like act on it. I couldn't like continue the momentum from making it on the list. So I was just like, wow, I can't. It's like you can't cash it in. Like you just have to. Like,
I guess in a lot of ways, though, like that for everybody on that list, at least it's the same situation for most people. I know some will still be able to wrestle, but yourself, you wouldn't have been able to. But when things are back to normal, I'm sure you're just going to keep carry on that momentum. Like the popularity that you've had over the last few months. I feel like as soon as the world opens up, there's going to be companies in the UK, America, Australia wanting to book you. So I'm sure you'll get that momentum back.
Hopefully. I mean, like I like, that's why I like platforms like Twitter and stuff, because it really gives, like, as much as people hate Twitter, like I feel like it does a lot of good as well, because it's like it keeps you connected and some sort of relevancy when you can't really wrestle.
Yeah, and you've definitely kept relevant on Twitter, haven't you? Because you, like I was saying before, you definitely know how to use Twitter to get a reaction, and I respect that a lot. You can post maybe just 5 words, but not finish a sentence, and you'll get hundreds of likes and replies and stuff. What inspired that then? The not finishing your tweets, was it just a one-off, or was it something you actually meant to do?
I mean, like, because I feel like, I think a lot, and I feel like I just have like all these ideas in my head, and I'm just like, I don't know how to express it. And then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like, I throw it out there. Actually, I was like, what? I just feel like not finishing my tweets or my sentences. And then I tried it, and then I did it again, and I kept doing it. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna keep doing this, because it's really.
I love it.
Like, if people don't find it funny, it doesn't bother me, as long as I find it funny and I find it entertaining. Then I'm just gonna go with it.
Some of the I love some of the tweets you post where, because you don't finish the tweet, it can be taken 100 different ways, and you've got people in the comments trying to work out what you actually meant, and you can tell you're enjoying doing it. So I hope you don't stop, because it is funny.
I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
It is great. I know when we reached out, I said to Callum, Candy Lee's coming on. He was like, "Oh, this is amazing. She's great. I love her Twitter. Her tweets are great." Like,
they are good.
It was just the best thing ever. But obviously, I know, to touch on it as well. Obviously, I've done research and interviews, and obviously, the trans side. You've said yourself you didn't want to make a deal of it, be thrust into the limelight, but you're kind of now becoming a role model. I mean, is that something you're now looking at as a big deal?
It's kind of scary and like daunting sometimes, because it's like a lot of pressure to put on someone. But like, I feel like it's like it's always like rewarding, and it feels great when like young people message me saying that like I've inspired them to like come out to their parents, like not like they might not even be trans, they might just be like a queer person and LGBT. And like it just means a lot, like when people share that with me, or like they feel like brave enough to come to me and like share their story with me. So like, as much as like I troll and stuff on Twitter, I'm like, I still have to like be serious when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah,
it's just like an honor.
Yes, I'm not allowed to be frivolous.
Oh my God, not my Siri speaking.
I wondered what that was.
I was like,
I triggered my Siri to speak.
I actually genuinely thought that was Callum for a second, putting on a posh accent. I said, Callum, what are you doing?
I thought I had a YouTube video playing in the background or something. That's great.
But no, I mean, like you said, it's a wonderful, inspirational thing. And we've had the pleasure to speak to there's a trans wrestler in the UK called Amber Jo, who's making a name for herself. We spoke to Edith Surreal a few weeks ago as well.
I love Edith.
What I love is not only are the inspirational stories all around, but they're all making names for themselves in women's wrestling. And I'm loving how, from what I can see anyway, accepting and supportive the community is for that, which I think is very, very important. Because for yourself, do you feel like you've had really good support as well from the fan base?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the fans are supportive, but like there are some like fans like, but that's just normal. And
that's normal, yeah.
In any like whatever it's called, like different sports and stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah. A lot of the time they've all been supportive and like, yeah, and it's like quite like amazing to see and stuff.
Yeah, but there's always gonna be that few minority who basically, you know, want to take a look at themselves because it's more of a reflection on who they are as a human being than anybody else.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, it is. But but like Callum said, we've spoke to Effie a couple of times, and Effie said himself, regardless of whether you're trans or LGBTQ, these guys and girls are getting over because of how talented they are.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the same with you. I mean, it's been thrilling. Like, we've had the chance, like I said, to speak to Edith, to speak to Effie, you know, and there's so many talented people out there. I mean, we covered the Big Gay Brunch of a Mania weekend. We had Pollo Del Mar on, and it was one of the best cards, I mean, I've ever seen. I don't know if you got to check it out yourself, Candy.
The one during Mania weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do watch a lot of the brunches. Like I watched the 24-hour show. I watched it.
The Fight Forever.
I watched it at the Collective weekend. I think I watched it during Mania weekend. I can't.
There was a lot of wrestling on that weekend, wasn't there?
There was a lot.
But it's a lot of wrestling in general happening.
Yeah.
So it's just like hard to keep up with sometimes.
Yeah, but it's like we said though, it's like these guys and girls are getting over because they're absolutely incredible wrestlers.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it's all about. I mean, is that a goal of yours to come over back to the US? Do you know? I mean, could we see you compete? I'd love to see you and Edith Surreal go 1-on-1. I mean, that'd be incredible, man.
Like, I'm kind of like bummed because of COVID. Like, I was actually meant to be in the brunch like last year.
Oh really?
Weekend. Yeah, but because COVID hit, I couldn't travel. So like, it was very like upsetting because it was gonna be like my first like Mania weekend, and I like had like bookings that I was really looking forward to. But hopefully the world gets better in the next few months because I would love to compete on the brunch.
Well, I think we're heading in the right direction, aren't we? So fingers crossed.
It'd be good to have you in the UK as well. I think there's a lot of promotions in the UK you'd be amazing in. So is that something you'd like to do?
Pro Wrestling Eve. I love what they do.
Yes.
Eve, yeah.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful company. Every woman wrestler we have on the show, they always say the same thing, Pro Wrestling Eve, when I come to the UK. Yeah, we'd love to see you there. I mean, like he said, when the world opens up, fingers crossed, we can get you over here to Pro Wrestling Eve. Are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry, hello.
Oh, sorry, I thought everything went silent. But yes, I mean, the UK. That's a goal for you then. The UK.
Yeah, I just want to wrestle like as much places as I could. Like the UK is definitely because there's like a lot of people want to wrestle there. I just want to wrestle everywhere and everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I know you have wrestled in the US as well. For Shimmer, who I guess are very similar to Pro Wrestling Eve. What was that experience like wrestling at
It
Shimmer?
was a cool experience. It was like the pre-show, but like I definitely want, like, hopefully down the line I get to wrestle at Shimmer on like the main show and stuff.
Yeah.
Because like I love the vibes there, and like I loved meeting a lot of the women in the locker room. They were so lovely and nice.
Yeah, it's a company we'd love to actually, you know, we're desperate to get back to the US ourselves, me and Callum. Shimmer's a company we'd love to go, you know, be there live and experience that, because there's nothing like that crowd as well in Illinois and Chicago as well. It's just you can't beat that for me. It's the best crowd in the world. But I know you said as well, like the end goal was WWE. Is that still the same? Is that the end goal for you?
I mean, like I would love to go to WWE, but it's just like at the moment I'm just like, oh, I just want to wrestle as much as I can.
Yeah.
And just being able to do it would be enough for me.
Yeah. So you're just
Yeah, like-
enjoying the journey at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like you can't put all your eggs into one basket, because
Mm.
you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So like,
Yeah.
I feel like there are more options around these days for like people to make a career out of wrestling,
Yeah.
not just WWE.
Well, that's it. You know, I was going to say, you know, 20 years ago, 15 years, even like 5 years ago, WWE was the only place really. But now there's so many places to go. WWE is not the be all end all anymore. Like you said, you know, even the independent circuit, there's people that are making full-time careers working the independents that never need to go to a WWE or an AEW. So it's the wrestling business as a whole, I think, is a pandemic aside, is in a very strong position. Is that
Yeah.
do you feel the same?
I definitely feel like it's heading towards like a more progressive environment, and like I feel like it is gonna thrive, but I feel like the pandemic is kind of like a spanner in like that journey.
Yeah.
But I feel like when it's over, it's gonna thrive and do amazing things, because I feel like wrestling is referenced a lot in mainstream
Yeah.
like media, and like it's like a lot more accessible now these days because streaming services and stuff, and like a lot of
Yeah.
people don't even like watch TV anymore. They like
Mhm.
stream things.
Yeah, I think it's going to be incredible, like you say, when things get back to some kind of normal. Like you said, yourself, the other wrestlers must be chomping at the bit to perform in front of the fans again. I know me and Callum are desperate to get back to a show, because there's nothing like that atmosphere being at
No.
a show. As a fan, I mean, you yourself, you must be missing the fans from a performer standpoint.
I mean, like I'm like lucky enough to still be able to wrestle here in New Zealand and have crowds at shows.
Mm.
So like I'm not missing out at the moment, because like New Zealand's pretty like COVID free at
Yeah.
the moment. So we do have crowds at our shows. But like I can see how people like miss performing in front of like the crowds and stuff, because like
Yeah,
it feels like it's been forever. Like it's only been a year, but like it feels like forever.
Seems so much longer, doesn't it?
it does. Yeah, we've not been to a show over here. We've not had a show in the UK for about 14 months now, Callum, something like that.
Yeah, 14 months now.
Yeah, so we're very much looking forward to be able to get back to a show with fans. Now, before we wrap up as well, because I'm terrified. I know Zoom doesn't give us long, so I don't want it to cut off. We mentioned Darnell earlier, but another person you worked with who we've had the pleasure of speaking to as well was Shazza McKenzie. I mean, what was it like working with Shazza?
I love Shazza. I love beating her up. She's great. She's really fun to work. She's really goofy as well. I like her naked.
We'll tag her in that, you know. We'll get the next match already going. Candy Lee says Shazza McKenzie's goofy. We'll start it off.
We're like 1 for 1. Like we need to like settle it.
Yeah, you do.
There we go. There we go. You've just fired the first shot calling her goofy. We're gonna get this rolling.
I think she knows she's goofy. I think she admitted it before.
But I mean, what was it like working with her from an experience standpoint as well? I'm presuming you probably learnt a lot working with Shazza.
Yeah, like the first time I wrestled her, like I felt so like new still, and I was like nervous as hell. But she was like very like calm about it. She was like, "Oh, you'll be fine." Like she was very like good at reassuring me because I was like, I'm always a wreck when it comes to wrestling. I always get nervous. I'm like, oh my god, I'm scared. Like, what the hell? I might die. I don't know why I always say that I'm gonna die for. Like, it's just my. But yeah, it was like good working with her. She's very like she helped me be calm and like she's easy to work with and like she was like, yeah, it was very fun.
Yeah, she's so talented. But one thing to finish up on as well, I was actually watching one of your matches in bed last night. I thought I'll do a bit of research. I was watching you and Jamie Senegal, and I've got to ask, your finish, is it the split ends? That's incredible. How did you come up with that? I love it, and I love the name. Yeah. How did you come up with that?
Well, like, cause I was wrestling at like one of my closest friends in wrestling here at my home promotion, Jason Dewhurst, and like I was just like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? I want to do something like cool and crazy, and I was just like, and I love the Divas, and obviously Christine, like she did the FFG, where she like had to split off like the second rope, and I was like, oh my god, I don't want to like just completely copy her. Why don't I just like jump off and like turn and do a split? And he was like, we can try it. I was very scared at first, but it does not hurt. Like a lot of people always ask me like, how are you walking? Are you not sore? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Like it doesn't hurt at all. Like you should ask the other person if it hurts them. But yeah, that's how I came up with it. And I was just like, yeah, it feels cool to like know that I invented a move, kind of.
Yeah.
I loved it, honestly. Yeah, I loved it. I was in bed, and it was a great match. I really enjoyed the match. I think Jamie Senegal is another very underrated talent. But I just loved the match, and then the finish. I was like, that's one of the best finishes I've ever seen. It was just so cool, and I think it fits your character perfectly. It was just brilliant. I loved it. I loved it. And I think that was for Rise. I think he was working for Rise that match. Yeah. But yeah, it was a great match. But I had to ask, I thought, that's just such a cool finish. I thought, I'm going to ask that before we end, because I think you've got one of the best finishes in wrestling. I absolutely love it.
I just like the pandemic didn't ruin, like, so I could like be doing it more. Like, it's funny though, because I was like, oh my god, I'm going to see if someone steals it on one of the TV promotions, you know, just like go on Twitter and start kicking off now.
Oh man, please do, because we love following you on Twitter. It's you're one of the best people to follow on Twitter. It's a pleasure. But before we wrap it up though, tell everybody where they can find you on Twitter and social media.
You can follow me on Twitter at candidlycandy_, and you can follow me on Instagram at @LayBobby. That's if you want though. Like you don't need to, but
you should.
Want. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to, but you really need to. You really should, because it's a treat. It is. But we follow you, and everybody else should follow you as well, because you're awesome. But I forgot as well. I mean, is there any merchandise to plug as well? Have you got any upcoming shows in New Zealand?
I'm wrestling this Saturday, and then I'm gonna wrestle in Australia next weekend. So I'm excited for Deathmatch Down Under. Oh my god, like people were like getting excited at the thought of me doing a death match. I was like, oh my god, really? Not me doing a death match, not with my skin. I don't want to die. But you never know, like maybe one day. But I have merch on What a Maneuver. I think you just Google my name.
I'll put it in the link. I'll put it in the description anyway.
Okay, cool.
We'll get it all out there, and we always like to bring guests back, so please, you're invited back anytime. We'd love to get you back.
Oh, yes, I would love to come back.
And we'll get the times right, because it was my fault. I'm like, oh, you're 11 hours in front, but it turns out you're only 9 hours in front. So I was getting really confused with the time. I do it all the time, but it has been an absolute pleasure, Candy, and we will definitely get you back on. But for now, Candy Lee, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.